Also big tonight, Grenada's Prime Minister embarks on official visit to Cuba. That story tonight from Tahira Burke at the Breaking News Desk.
Grenada is set to get more assistance from Cuba on the fresh agreements that are set to be signed in Havana this week as the island's Prime Minister embarks on his first official visit. Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell heads a powerful delegation that includes 4 of his senior ministers on a visit there, where they are set to sign 9 memoranda of understandings that covers education, agriculture and sports, and other areas. It is the first official visit to Havana by a Grenadian leader in a decade. The Grenadian leader, who has been there before for other engagements, will meet with Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel as well as Prime Minister Manuel Marrero Cruz. While there, the Grenadian delegation will also meet with its students studying in Cuba. The visit comes off the 45th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between St. George's and Havana, which came weeks after the 1979 Grenada Revolution. Except for a brief period after the U.S. invasion in 1983, the 2 Caribbean countries have enjoyed excellent relations. Grenada's international airport, now named after revolutionary leader Maurice Bishop, was built with Cuban assistance, and hundreds of professionals now serving in the country have benefited from Cuban scholarships. The delegation, which flies to Havana Thursday, returns to St. George's on Sunday. Included are Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Andal, Housing Minister Philip Telesford, Economic Minister Lennox Andrews, and Education Minister David Andrew. For Primetime Caribbean, I am Tahira Burke from the Carib Update News Service.
St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Terence Drew is on a swing through the Middle East. His office says he is in search of fresh investments for his tiny island nation. He is spending 9 days on the road trekking between Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. Drew's office says he is specifically seeking funding for investments in geothermal. A police officer is among 8 people detained after drugs were found on the state-owned airline Suriname Airways. Over 500 kilograms of cocaine were discovered on the plane prior to its departure to the Netherlands last month. The officer was among 2 people arrested on Monday, bringing the total number of suspects being questioned in connection with the drug seizure to 8. Police in St. Vincent have detained 3 people amid their investigations into the discovery of 2 burnt bodies in Park Hill, a rural village northeast of the capital. The police have since identified the bodies as that of Marvin Barker and Calvert Vert Smart, and that their charred bodies were discovered at the back of a house with their limbs bound. In a statement, the police said that they are continuing the investigation and have described the arrest of the 3 persons as a significant development. The names of the detainees have not been revealed. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Parliament has approved legislation providing for stiffer penalties for some firearm-related offenses. New penalties, including trafficking in firearms and the 3D printing of firearms, has also been created. In piloting the legislation, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that while the penalties are not at the highest in the region, they have moved from the middle range, reflecting the public's serious concern about gun crimes and the consensus among legislators. The maximum sentence a magistrate can impose on a person guilty of possession of an unlicensed firearm or who forges or counterfeits any license or permit is EC $25,000 and 10 years imprisonment. The previous penalty was $20,000 and 7 years. Barbados has signed an agreement with the China International Development Corporation Agency for the acquisition of electric buses. The agreement is based on a request by Bridgetown as part of the effort to reduce reliance on fossil fuels and minimize the island's carbon footprint. The specifications have been submitted and the Chinese authorities are in the process of assessing them. Chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee in Trinidad and Tobago, Barindra Sinanan, has brushed aside calls made by opposition leader Kamla Persad Bissessa for him to step down. Prasad Bisessa's call came after he publicly endorsed Trinidad and Tobago's move towards gaining full membership of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Prasad Bisessa, speaking at a public meeting of her United National Congress on Monday night, said Sinanan, a former Speaker of Parliament, had appeared on a radio program supporting the CCJ replacing the London-based Privy Council as the country's highest and final court.
And I'm going to warn you now, the UNC will never at this time vote to abolish the Privy Council, not at this time.
She said that the chairman consulting has to keep a neutral ground.
You don't give your view. We all have views. But if you're chairing, what were you there to do? You were there to listen to the points that people were bringing forward, to listen. And on that radio program, the chairman openly endorsed abolishing the Privy Council, openly. So you make up your mind already. You Trump and foreign suit, AG, who is his name now, Amo or Limo. You Trump and Limo say, move the Privy Council, abolish it, go to the CCJ, and the chairman. Can you imagine that? You cannot be chairing and you have already made up your mind. So I would ask the government to reconsider. And I'll ask that chairman, I know he's a very decent human being, the chairman, respectable, decent lawyer he is. I think he knows what he has to do. He has to recuse himself. He has to recuse himself.
But in an interview on a local radio station, Sinanan said he has no intention of stepping down. This is Primetime Caribbean. Your World Outside is next.